American lawmakers are reconsidering the idea of sending additional foreign aid to Ukraine as it attempts to continue defending itself against Russia. Some Republican lawmakers think that that money is better spent in Israel, which is still attempting to overcome the brutal attack that it faced over the weekend as a result of Hamas. Now, Josh Hawley happens to be one of those lawmakers, Senator Josh Hawley, a Republican who put out this post. Israel is facing existential threat. Any funding for Ukraine should be redirected to Israel immediately. And there is a similar thought process among some Republicans in the House as well. In fact, a number of Republicans in the House oppose aid for Ukraine outright, but they have used this attack on Israel as a reason to pull funding from Ukraine and instead redirect it to Israel. And if you look at the numbers in Congress in regard to the number of Republican lawmakers who want to pull support from Ukraine, I mean, it seems to be rising. Last month, 93 Republicans voted for an amendment to a military funding bill offered by Representative Matt Gaetz to bar all military aid to Ukraine. And that's up from 70 Republicans who backed a similar proposal by Gaetz in July. Representatives Marjorie Greene and Elise Stefanik have already publicly opposed a combined aid package to Israel and Ukraine. And they might be taking cues from their voters. Among Republican voters, support for Ukraine aid stands at 50%, a drop of 18 percentage points since July of 2022, and 30 points since the opening weeks of Russia's full-scale invasion. Democratic support stands at 77%, barely changed from 79% in the summer of 2022. Among independents, support has fallen 8 points to 60%. And independents these days are the ones who make or break elections. So Cenk, what do you think about this?
So this is a very difficult situation because the reality is that the issue here isn't money. We give Israel an enormous amount of money. We gave them Iron Dome, which saved a lot of Israeli civilian lives, which I'm very proud of. What is the extra money going to do? They're going into to Gaza Strip, right? It's not like they need submarines or nukes or whatever. They need bullets. But they have plenty of money for that, and they have more money than militarily and provided by us than the rest of those countries combined in the region. So your heart goes out to Israel, and you want to help. I don't know that this is the most productive way to help, but then people are going to say, "Oh my God, you're monsters." The answer is always money, and let's give them more money. But we already gave them all the money in the world, and it didn't protect them from this. The answer in this particular, for example, as opposed to, for example, Ukraine, who is fighting a much larger enemy and does not have anywhere near the budget that Israel had militarily, and the aid that we had given Ukraine is not anywhere near what it was for Israel. Now, the aid we have given to Ukraine to fight that war is a lot, right? And you could see where it's going, and you could see the Russian army reeling, right? So you could see with your own eyes that here it's not, I want to help Israel. I just don't see the point of more money. That's not the right help. Intelligence, we should give them, like you want to send them half the CIA to get as great an intelligence as you can, whatever you need to do, that makes sense, right? Let's get them help, but and it's, look, I know Netanyahu is going to get his vengeance, etc., right? At some point, we have to plead with Israel because we're pleading now. We're not asking, we're not yelling, we're not demanding. We're pleading with them to take the moral high ground and not cause so many civilian casualties. And so that's another thing that I hope we can help them with. And again, so the bombs that are dropped, I'm 100% against it on both sides. Hamas definitely started it here, etc. I want to be clear every time we talk about it. But the ground troops are better. Yes, they'll cause mass carnage, and they'll say, well, you'll say, what do you mean you ground troops are better? But it means they're trying to find Hamas instead of randomly bombing places they think Hamas might be, but there's tons of civilians there as well. So I'm in favor of the ground troops. Hate me if you want.
Yeah, and just to give you a sense of how much aid the United States provides Israel every year, it's close to about $4 billion a year. As Cenk mentioned, the United States funded the Iron Dome. And just to give you a sense of what the US has already committed to doing following what Hamas did over the weekend, let's go to graphic 7. Administration officials told lawmakers they are already expediting existing contracts for weapons Israel has purchased to give them a boost in the near term. The Biden administration also can use the presidential drawdown authority to provide additional weapons to Israel, though it would need Congress to increase the amount of money in the fund, officials said. Just today, President Joe Biden gave a speech indicating that he will be providing additional ammunition and military aid to Israel. So that is going to happen. But if you take your emotions out of it and just simply look at the numbers and the amount of aid and which country needs it the most, I think it's undeniable that Ukraine needs the military funding more than the Israeli government does. But even so, the United States is still assisting the Israeli government in its response to Hamas's attack over the weekend. So, as we've said in every single story that we've covered on this matter, a lot of innocent people are gonna die. A lot of innocent civilians on the Israeli side died over the weekend. There are still Israeli hostages in Hamas's, they're being held captive with Hamas, and I don't know what the fate of those hostages will be. But one thing that we also know is that parts of Gaza have already been leveled, innocent civilians have already been killed, and there will be more carnage to come. It is just an incredibly dark and devastating story.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.